At 3:08 in the morning, the electric well on Nora Hale's farm stopped in the middle of a pump cycle. The pressure switch clicked once. The motor did not answer. Across Blackthorn Road, a transformer flashed blue behind a row of hedge trees, and every yard light on the ridge disappeared. Nora's 37 cattle were already moving toward the barn trough. The strange part was this. Before the neighbor's standby generator had finished warming up, water was entering Nora's trough without a running pump. Not from the windmill. Its wheel was glazed with ice and motionless. Not from the lower pasture mill. The air had gone still hours earlier. The water was coming from a steel tank on the hill, 18 feet above the barn. It had been lifted there a little at a time during the 6 days before the storm. Now gravity was spending it. The question was no longer whether an old wind pump could compete with electricity. It was how long a farm could keep functioning after the fastest system on the property went silent. 7 weeks earlier, in late October 1997, Blackthorn Farm had looked ordinary enough from the county road. A white frame house sat above a shallow draw in southeastern Kansas. A long cattle barn stood below it, its galvanized roof patched in 2 shades from years of hail. The electric well house was 20 paces from the barn, and inside it 1 submersible pump supplied almost every important gallon on the place. It watered the cows. It fed the calving pens. It supplied the house. It pushed water through a buried line to the south lot. For 8 years, the system had been dependable. That was exactly what bothered Nora. Dependable things were easy to stop thinking about. Nora was 39, broad-shouldered from work, with a habit of writing numbers on whatever surface was closest when something on the farm began changing. Feed counts went on the barn door. Calving dates went on the tack room calendar. Pump cycles went on the back of feed receipts. In late October, the pump cycles started getting longer. Her 17-year-old nephew, Eli, stood beside the stock tank holding a kitchen timer while Nora opened the hydrant all the way. Water came hard for the first few minutes. Then the stream narrowed. The pump continued running, but the well was recovering more slowly than it had in summer. Eli stopped the timer 6 minutes, 41 seconds before the pressure dropped. Nora shut the hydrant. Again after it recovers. You think the well is failing? I think I don't know yet. That answer was why Eli liked working with her. Nora did not turn suspicion into certainty until she had a number for it. They repeated the test 3 times that week. The well still produced enough water for normal use, but recovery, after a long draw, had slowed by almost a third since August. Then Nora counted hay. 5 weeks at the current ration, maybe 6 if winter stayed mild. Then she checked the propane level for the house, the diesel stored for the tractor, and the county co-op delivery schedule. Every line on the page pointed to the same problem. The farm worked because several outside things kept arriving on time. Electricity, fuel, feed, parts, road access. Nora did not believe she could make the farm independent of all of them. She wanted one essential system to stop depending on all of them at once. 3 days later, Eli found an auction notice taped inside the co-op office. The county reclamation yard was clearing a fenced lot behind an old maintenance depot. Among the culvert pipe, road signs, bridge planks, and rusted mower frames were 7 wind pump assemblies removed from abandoned stock wells. No machine was listed as operational. Some were missing tails. 2 towers were bent. 1 gearbox had no cover. Several sucker rods were wired together in a bundle that had probably not been straight in years. The whole group was being sold as one lot. Ray Camden read the notice over Nora's shoulder. Ray ran 51 head across Blackthorn Road. His main well was deeper than Nora's, but faster. And he kept a propane standby generator beside his machine shed. He had paid for it after a summer thunderstorm left his place without power for 14 hours. You're not thinking about buying that pile. Nora folded the notice. I'm thinking about looking at it. 7 dead windmills. 7 piles of parts. My generator starts with 1 switch. It also starts with propane. Ray grinned. Propane is easier to buy than wind. Nora put the notice in her coat pocket. Usually, the county yard smelled of wet grass, old gear oil, and rust. Eli walked the rows with a tape measure, while Nora photographed casting numbers and tower plates. They did not count 7 windmills, they counted usable functions. 2-wheel hubs that turned without grinding. 3 gear housings worth opening. 4 tower sections that looked straight enough to measure. A stack of rod guides. 1 tail vane with a sound pivot. 2 cylinders. 1 too large for Nora's well, and 1 so badly scored that light showed through a groove in the wall. The largest wheel, 9 feet across, was the only part that looked impressive from a distance. Nora wrote its number down first. The smaller wheels looked like leftovers. Eli noticed. You want the big one. If the hub is good, because it catches more wind, because I want the tank filled. At that point, Nora was still confusing more force with more useful work. The purchase also had a cost Nora could feel immediately. She had delayed replacing a worn feed wagon tire and postponed fencing on the south boundary. The operating account could absorb the auction, but only by making winter less forgiving somewhere else. Eli knew that. If this does nothing, what then? Nora looked over the rusted parts. Then we learn before spending more. And if it works, then it still has to earn its place. That was the standard she kept after the bidding started. Buying the lot did not commit her to using every part. It committed her only to proving what each useful part could safely do. The auction took less than 6 minutes. A scrap buyer opened at $200. Nora ended at $620. Hauling cost nearly as much as the iron. By the time the last flatbed backed into her equipment yard, she had $1,280 tied up in machines that had not pumped a gallon. Ray watched from his side of the road. You know what $1,200 buys? Not much propane anymore. It buys a used generator if you shop carefully. Nora signed the freight ticket. Then you should be glad I left the generators for you. For the next 9 days, the yard became a sorting floor. Eli tagged every part with a steel marker. Nora cleaned grease from gears, freed bolts with heat, checked shafts for play, and rolled wheel rims along the concrete to see how badly they wandered. She kept 3 piles. Possible. Donor. No. The no pile grew fastest. A tower leg had a crease hidden beneath flaking paint. 2 rods were heat-straightened and brittle at the welds. 1 wheel had a cracked spoke root. A gearbox that looked complete held water and red sludge where oil should have been. Still, Nora believed she could build 1 strong machine. Behind the north pasture stood an unused well drilled by the previous owner. It was 79 feet deep and still held water. 20 yards uphill from it sat an old 6,600-gallon steel fire tank that had once served a neighboring seed warehouse before Nora bought the property. The tank was ugly, but sound enough to test. More important, its outlet sat 18 feet above the barn trough. If she could put water in that tank, gravity could move it to the cattle whether the electric pump ran or not. Nora focused on the wind pump first. She chose the 9-foot wheel. She paired it with the gearbox that had the thickest shaft and a deep well cylinder that looked almost new after cleaning. To get more water per revolution, she set the mechanism for the longest stroke she could assemble from the salvaged crank parts. The tower stood 32 feet high after she combined sections from 2 different units. The base was square enough by tape measure, and the rod looked centered when no load was on it. On a mild afternoon with a 10-mile-an-hour south wind, the wheel began turning. The rod lifted. The first water reached the discharge pipe after 43 seconds. Eli set a 5-gallon bucket under the pipe. They measured 96 gallons an hour. Nora did not smile much, but she smiled then. The hill tank had been empty for years. That afternoon, a thin stream began climbing toward it. Ray stopped his truck at the fence. How many days to fill it at that speed? Long enough. That's not an answer. Neither is one switch. Ray laughed and drove on. The first machine survived 3 light winds. The 4th test nearly ruined it. A cold front came through after midnight. By dawn, gusts were pushing over 25 miles an hour. The big wheel accelerated. Nora heard the change from the barn. Not a squeal, a knock. One heavy strike every few turns. Then 2. She and Eli stayed outside the tower's fall radius and watched the pump rod flex where it entered the casing. The long stroke was pulling the water column too hard. The rod bowed under compression, then snapped straight as the crank came over center. The whole head rocked on its platform. The furling tail should have turned the wheel away from the wind. Instead, the salvage linkage jammed halfway. Nora pulled the ground brake rope. The brake grabbed. The wheel slowed. Then the cable anchor ripped loose from an old clamp, and the rope went slack in her hands. Back, they moved beyond the tower radius and waited. For 23 minutes, the machine knocked itself against the load until a rod guide bent, and the sucker rod kinked hard enough to stop the stroke. The wheel continued spinning, unloaded until the wind eased. When it finally stopped, the new system had pumped water. It had also destroyed the one straight rod string Nora trusted most. The next morning, she painted the bent guide red and carried the gearbox to May Pollard's repair shop in town. May was 68 and had spent most of her working life rebuilding irrigation drives, wind pump heads, and Stockwell hardware before newer electric systems pushed that work to the edge of the business. She did not call herself a windmill expert. She called herself a mechanic who had seen people ask machines to do the wrong job. Nora set the gearbox on May's bench. It worked until the wind picked up. May turned the shaft by hand. That sentence has buried a lot of equipment. She asked for the wheel diameter, stroke length, well depth, cylinder size, tower height, and rod length. Nora had every number. May wrote them in a column. Then she circled 3, 9-foot wheel, long stroke, 3-inch cylinder. You're trying to move too much water every time the wheel comes around. I thought the larger cylinder was the good one. It's a good cylinder. For a different load. May opened the gearbox and checked the gear ratio. This head was built for a smaller wheel. Your tail can't unload it early enough. Your brake was undersized for the combination, and your rod was the fuse. Nora looked at the grease-black parts spread across the bench. So I bought 7 bad machines. No, you bought 7 machines that no longer belong to their original wells. That's different. May pushed Nora's notebook back toward her. Stop asking which part is strongest. Ask which parts agree. That changed the project. Not all at once. Nora still wanted one machine powerful enough to feel like an answer. May made her calculate demand instead. 37 cattle in cold weather. Household minimum. Calving reserve. Line loss. A little margin for an injury, a leaking float, or a second household on the road needing water. Nora's normal farm used far more than the minimum because convenience used water too. Washdown. Long hose runs, unmeasured barn use, the survival number was smaller. 500 gallons a day gave the farm room to function safely, without pretending conditions were normal. May tapped that number. Now tell me how many days you want stored. Nora looked toward the hill through the shop window, even though the farm was 7 miles away. At least 8. Then your tank matters more than your best hour of pumping. Nora had gone to town to repair a windmill. She came home designing a water bank. The second design looked smaller on paper. That was the point. The primary pump would use a 7-foot wheel, a shorter stroke, a 2¼ inch cylinder, a rebuilt head with the correct gear ratio, a new brake cable. and a furling linkage that began unloading before the tower took the full force of a hard wind. The lower pasture system would be smaller still. 5.5 feet of wheel on a 22-foot tower above a 41-foot stock well near the creek fence. It would fill an 1,800-gallon cistern beside the south lot. The electric well would continue doing most of the daily work. Nothing in Nora's plan tried to prove electricity unnecessary. The mechanical pumps had a narrower job. They would lift water whenever useful wind existed, even if no one was asking for water at that moment. The tanks would save the result for later. Eli redrew the property map on brown wrapping paper. Electric well, hill tank, barn trough, calving pen, house emergency line, south lot, lower cistern. One route was fast. Several were slow. More important, no single switch controlled all of them anymore. The rebuild took another 2 weeks. They lowered the first tower instead of trying to correct it in place. They replaced the damaged rod guide and discarded the kinked rod. The 9-foot wheel went behind the machine shed, where it could donate hardware but would not return to the tower. Nora almost kept the long-stroke crank because she had spent a full day fitting it. May looked at the worn pin. Time already spent doesn't change the load. Nora threw it in the donor pile. The new 7-foot wheel rose on a square base with the rod centered under load, not merely by eye. They tested the brake before attaching the pump rod. They tested the furling tail with a spring scale. They turned the head by hand through a full cycle. Only then did they attach the cylinder. At 8 miles an hour, the wheel barely moved. At 10, it began a steady rotation. Water arrived in even pulses. Eli measured 68 gallons an hour. At 14 miles an hour, the output climbed above 100. At stronger gusts, the tail shifted the wheel partly away from the wind and the output flattened instead of climbing. Ray came over to watch. The first one made more water. "For 20 minutes, Eli said. Ray looked at the new brake cable, then at the bent rod behind the shed. Fair point. That was the first time he stopped treating the broken parts as a joke. The lower pump went up next. Its first clear water test made only 42 gallons an hour. Nora expected disappointment. Eli took out his pencil. 10 hours of that is 420 gallons, if the wind holds. If it doesn't, we already have what's in the cistern. Nora nodded. The arithmetic was beginning to change the way they looked at slow machines. Then the gravity system failed its first serious test. The hill tank held water. The line did not deliver it reliably. Nora had buried a 1.25-inch pipe from the tank toward the barn. The route looked downhill on the surface, but an old terrace crossed the pasture halfway along it. The trench had followed the grade too closely, rising several feet before descending again. When they opened the barn valve, water ran hard at first. Then the flow weakened. After 200 gallons, the trough inlet coughed air and nearly stopped. Nora checked the tank. Plenty of head pressure remained. She checked the valve. Open. She checked for a leak. Nothing. May walked the route once and stopped at the terrace crest. "You've built a place for air to live." The line was not simply downhill. It had a high pocket. As water moved, trapped air collected there and reduced the flow. That would have been irritating in October. Under ice, with a tank full of emergency water above the barn, it could become a false reserve. Gallons they owned but could not reach. Nora dug up 60 feet of pipe. She lowered the high point, added a protected vent at the correct location, and rebuilt the branch so the emergency path maintained a continuous usable fall. Then she tested it again. 500 gallons, no loss of flow. 1,000, still steady. Eli closed the house branch while the barn trough continued running. He closed the south lot branch while the calving line remained live. Every critical branch received a ground-level isolation valve inside a marked box. May insisted they practice without the map. "If a line splits in ice," she said, You won't want to empty the whole hill while deciding which handle matters. Nora numbered the boxes with reflective tape. 1 for barn, 2 for calving, 3 for house emergency, 4 for south lot, 5 for electric pressure isolation. The tank itself received 2 level marks, a white band at normal operating reserve, a black band lower down. Below the black line, Nora considered the farm inside emergency minimum. Eli asked why she did not just keep the tank completely full. Because a tank nobody tests is a story we tell ourselves. So they used it. Every week, they drew water from the hill and allowed the electric pump and wind pump to restore it. They checked the manual gauge against a dipstick through the inspection port. They drained sediment. They watched for leaks. They learned how long the tank took to recover under mixed wind. By late November, Nora knew something she had not known when she bought the scrap. A backup was not a machine waiting to start. It was a path that had already proved it could carry the load. Before they trusted the system in winter, Nora forced it through a day when nothing was wrong. That bothered Ray more than anything else she had done. One Saturday in early December, with clear roads and the electric line working normally, Nora shut off the electric pressure branch to the barn at 8 in the morning. The house still had power, the well still worked. She simply refused to let the barn use it for 8 hours. Ray saw her at the valve box and stopped. "You have electricity, I know, and you're turning it off. For the barn. Why?" Nora looked at Eli, who was holding the water log. "Because an emergency is a bad time to discover what we forgot." The hill tank stood at 4,800 gallons when the test began. The lower cistern held 1,300. The primary wind pump was turning in a light west wind, but Nora told Eli to record its output separately. If the gravity system worked, they needed to know whether it worked because of the storage, because of current wind, or because they had accidentally left an electric path open. They opened the barn trough. The flow looked normal. They opened the calving line. Still normal. Then Eli noticed the tank gauge dropping faster than their consumption estimate predicted. At 10 o'clock, they were nearly 100 gallons below the expected line. Nora walked every branch. No wet ground appeared along the buried main. No valve box held water. The house emergency line was closed. The south lot float looked normal from 20 feet away. Eli climbed over the gate and listened. Water was moving, even though no cattle were drinking. The float had worn at its hinge and was failing to close completely. The leak was not dramatic enough to flood the trough. It simply allowed a thin stream to spill through the overflow notch and disappear into frozen grass. They measured it with a bucket and stopwatch. 31 gallons an hour. During an ordinary week, the electric pump hid the loss. During a long outage, that single float could waste most of a household's daily emergency allowance. Nora isolated the south branch. The rest of the farm continued receiving water. She replaced the float assembly and repeated the measurement. 0 flow after closure. By noon, the tank draw had returned to the expected line. Ray had stayed longer than he intended. He stood beside the gate with both hands in his coat pockets. "So the test found a bad float." "It found a bad assumption," Nora said. "Which was that no obvious leak meant no leak." The controlled shutdown continued until 4 in the afternoon. The barn trough filled on gravity. The calving line held pressure. The corrected south lot branch opened and closed without changing the other lines. The house emergency tap produced a usable stream, slower than normal household pressure but steady. The primary wind pump added a little more than 400 gallons during the test. Nora subtracted that contribution from the tank readings before calculating gravity use. Eli objected at first, "But the wind water is real." "Yes, then why take it out?" "Because I want to know what happens if the wind isn't there." He looked at the 2 columns, stored supply, current production. Then he understood. They were no longer asking whether the farm had water. They were asking where each gallon came from and whether that source could disappear independently. At 4:05, Nora reopened the electric pressure line. The pump started. Nothing dramatic happened. That was the best result the test could have produced. The electric system returned to normal work, and the backup path did not need to be repaired under pressure. That evening, Eli changed the water log. Instead of one total, he made 4 columns: stored reserve, wind contribution, electric contribution, unexplained loss. Nora added a 5th, outside load. At the time, that column remained empty. The black line on the tank acquired a more exact meaning after the drill. It was not simply the point where Nora became nervous. It represented 4 protected days of cattle, house, and calving water under their measured winter minimum, with no wind and no electric contribution. Everything above the line was margin. Everything below it required a new decision. The test also changed how they stored spare parts. The rebuilt pump head on the shelf received a tag listing the wheel, stroke, and cylinder combinations it could safely serve. The new float assembly received a spare seal. Each isolation valve box got a simple sketch inside its lid, showing which branch it controlled. They kept one clean hose only for potable or livestock water transfer, and marked it so it would never be used for fuel or chemicals. None of those changes looked like a windmill project anymore. The windmill was only one way water entered the system. The real project had become knowing how water could leave it. Winter came in short tests, a 10-hour outage after wet snow. The hill tank supplied the barn and house line while the electric service was down. A frozen float in the south lot. Eli isolated that branch without losing the rest of the tank. A loose tail pivot on the smaller wind pump. They caught it during inspection before it wore the whole oval. None of those events felt dramatic. That was useful. By the middle of December, the 7 discarded wind pumps had become 2 operating machines. One rebuilt spare head on a shelf, several donor parts, and a large red tag pile that Nora refused to use. The strongest-looking wheel still leaned behind the shed. The bent rod remained beside it. Ray no longer asked why she kept the wreckage. He had started asking how much water the hill tank held. The answer depended on the day. Nora kept it above 4,000 gallons during ordinary winter weather. If ice or high wind entered the forecast, she raised it. There was one more thing Nora wanted before ice season: a recovery curve. Knowing how many gallons were stored answered only half the problem. She needed to know how long the farm took to rebuild that reserve after using it. For 12 days, Eli recorded the hill tank at dawn and dusk. On calm days, the primary wind pump contributed almost nothing. The electric well restored the reserve in short cycles, limited by its slower recovery. On moderate northwest days, the wind pump added several hundred gallons without asking anything from the electric line. On gusty days, the furling tail reduced the wheel's angle and kept the head from chasing maximum output. At first, Eli disliked watching the output flatten. "We have more wind than this." Nora looked at the tower. "We also still have a tower." The point was not to harvest every possible gallon from every gust. The point was to build reserve without spending the machine that built it. They ran one deliberate draw from the hill tank down to just above the black band, then timed the return under mixed weather. The electric well did most of the work during calm periods. The wind pump reduced how often the electric system had to run when the breeze returned. The tank reached the white band again in a little under 2 days. That number joined the log, not because it would always be 2 days, because it gave them a baseline, a backup reserve that could not recover before the next likely interruption, would eventually become an empty tank with a comforting label. Nora also learned not to chase a full tank at the expense of the main well. If the electric pump ran too long, recovery slowed and the pressure cycle stretched. So she used shorter fills, allowed the well to recover, and let the wind pump add whatever it could between cycles. The result looked inefficient to Ray. He watched one afternoon as the electric pump shut off while the hill tank remained several hundred gallons below full. Why not finish it? Because the well is recovering. Tank isn't full. It doesn't have to be full every minute. It has to stay above the line we decided matters. Ray looked at the black band, then the white one. You turned water into paperwork. I turned guessing into paperwork. That distinction mattered when the weather forecast arrived. By then, Nora knew not only how much water the farm could store, but how quickly each source could rebuild it, what conditions slowed that recovery, and which demand could be separated if the reserve began falling faster than expected. On a Monday morning in early January, the county radio mentioned a warm layer moving over shallow Arctic air. Freezing rain was possible late Wednesday. By that afternoon, the forecast changed. Significant icing, tree damage possible, rural power interruptions likely. By Tuesday morning, the ice estimate had increased again. Nora did not wait for rain. She read the hill tank. 5,100 gallons. Lower cistern. 1,200. She opened each isolation box and moved every valve through its full travel. Eli checked the gravity flow at the barn trough and timed it. May came by after lunch and tested both ground brakes. They did not climb either tower. They checked what could be checked from the ground and left the machines alone. Nora ran the electric well in measured cycles, never drawing it down hard enough to lengthen recovery. The primary wind pump added water whenever the north breeze returned. By Tuesday night, the hill tank stood above 6,000 gallons. Ray rolled his propane generator out from the machine shed and ran it under load. The engine started immediately. His transfer switch worked. His well filled 2 stock tanks in less than an hour. He had a 400-gallon propane tank dedicated to the generator and barn heat circuits. You could still buy one of these, he called across the road. Nora was closing the hill tank inspection port. I might someday. Ray looked surprised. After all this, fast equipment is useful. Then what have you been arguing with me about for 2 months? Nora looked toward the weather radio inside the barn. I haven't been arguing about speed. At 36 hours before the storm, Eli recalculated minimum demand. 37 cattle. Household drinking and basic sanitation. Calving reserve. A loss allowance for ice or a damaged float. They settled on 480 gallons a day as the protected operating target. The hill tank alone could cover more than 10 days on paper if it were near full. Nora crossed out the word alone. Paper did not contain broken pipe, contamination, illness, or a neighbor with an empty trough. She wrote a second line. Do not spend the last 2 days of water. That became their sharing rule before anyone had asked for a gallon. At 18 hours, the lower cistern reached 1,500 gallons. The hill tank stood at 6,240. Not full. Enough to make the black reserve line feel distant. Nora filled 2 clean transport tanks and left them empty but ready. She moved the cattle out of the exposed east lot. Eli brought extra bedding into the calving shed. Ray topped his propane tank as high as the delivery schedule allowed. The driver left before dark and said the county roads would be his last route until the front passed. At 10 that night, rain began tapping the windows. By 11, the yard shone beneath a clear skin. Fence wires thickened. Tree branches bent. The wind faded. The primary wheel slowed and stopped. The lower wheel stopped an hour later. Nora did not care. Their work for the night was already in the tanks. At 3:08, the transformer across Blackthorn Road flashed blue. The pump house went dark. Eli appeared at the mudroom door with a flashlight. Line or transformer? A second flash answered from farther down the road. Nora pulled on her coat. Doesn't matter yet. They walked to valve box 5. She isolated the dead electric pressure line. Then she opened the hill gravity branch. No motor started. No engine turned. For 2 seconds, there was only freezing rain on the valve box lid. Then the buried pipe filled. At the barn, the trough valve began to hiss. Water moved under the dark roof. The cattle drank. Across the road, Now's generator started with a deep propane bark and brought his barn lights back in sections. His system looked stronger. It was stronger in one important way. It could produce water quickly on command. Nora's 2 wind pumps produced nothing that night. The farm was living on earlier work. By dawn, nearly half an inch of ice coated the primary wheel. One side was heavier than the other. Nora and Eli approached only far enough to inspect the ground controls. A gust tried to move the wheel. It rocked a few inches and stopped. Nora engaged the brake and secured it. "On a far," Eli said. "Ride it that way." He did. They did not call it broken. They did not pretend it was helping. They recorded the condition they had. Primary wind pump unavailable due to ice. Lower wind pump calm, no useful output. Hill tank, 5,980 gallons. Lower cistern, 1,460. The storm had begun with every slow source stopped. The stored reserve was now the only reason those limits did not matter immediately. The first day passed slowly. Power remained out across the eastern half of the county. A tree took down the north feeder road before sunrise. Another line sagged across the highway near the grain elevator. The utility company reported crews moving from town outward, but no one gave Blackthorn Road a restoration time. Nora measured the tank every 4 hours. She did not ration the cattle below what they safely needed. She rationed convenience. The house branch opened at set periods. Wash water came from containers filled before the storm. The barn hose stayed closed unless there was a specific job for it. The calving pen remained protected. By evening, the hill tank had fallen less than 500 gallons. That was close to plan. Ray's generator ran most of the morning. It powered his well, the calving shed lights, a freezer circuit, and 2 heat tapes. By afternoon, he changed his mind about the load. He shut off everything except the well and 1 barn circuit. The generator itself had not failed. The problem was arithmetic. His 400-gallon propane tank had looked generous when the roads were open. Under continuous winter load, it had become a clock. Ray began cycling the generator, 20 minutes on, long enough to refill a trough, then off. Late that first afternoon, the storm found a weakness they had not created during the dry run. The calving trough stopped filling. Eli noticed it because the float arm had dropped, but the inlet remained silent. The barn trough still had water. The house emergency line still worked. The hill tank level had not changed suddenly. That narrowed the problem to 1 branch. Nora opened valve box 2 only far enough to confirm pressure at the inlet side. The box itself was packed in straw beneath an insulated lid, but wind-driven rain had reached the short exposed section where the line entered the calving shed wall. Ice had formed around the metal elbow. The pipe had not burst. It had frozen at the narrowest exposed point. Under the old single-line system, Nora would have attacked the ice immediately, because every calf on the farm would have depended on that branch returning to service. Now she had another option. She closed valve 2. Eli filled 2 clean stock tubs from the barn branch and moved them into the calving shed with the tractor at walking speed. The calves had water again within 20 minutes. The frozen branch could wait. That delay mattered. Freezing rain was still falling, and the safest repair was not the fastest repair. Nora refused to use an open flame near the wall or electrical conduit. She wrapped the exposed elbow with dry insulation, then used controlled warm water from the house reserve to thaw it gradually from the interior side. The line opened after 40 minutes. They did not reopen it immediately. Nora checked the elbow for a hairline, split by pressurizing the branch for a few seconds into a bucket. A bead formed at the threaded joint. The freeze had loosened the connection. She shut the valve again. Eli looked at the two stock tubs. We could keep carrying water for a while. So we don't have to fix it tonight. Exactly. They waited until freezing rain weakened after dark, then replaced the short exposed section with a spare fitting, and added a temporary insulated cover that could be removed for inspection. When Nora reopened valve 2, the calving trough began filling. Eli wrote the event in the storm log. Calving branch unavailable. 2 hours, 11 minutes. Farm water system unavailable. 0 minutes. He underlined the difference. The hill tank had not prevented the pipe from freezing. The isolation layout had prevented one frozen pipe from becoming the whole farm's emergency. Ray heard about it on the handheld radio that evening. Thought all that buried pipe was supposed to keep you from freezing up. Nora pressed the transmit button. Most of it is buried, and the part that wasn't told us why it should have been. Ray laughed once. Then his tone changed. You good now? We're good. Tank, above 5,300. There was a pause on the radio. I keep asking that number now. Nora looked at Eli. I noticed. That evening they changed one more procedure. Every tank reading now included the status of each branch: available, isolated, frozen, unknown. Nora did not want a full tank to create false confidence if the water could not reach the place that needed it. The system had 3 separate questions. Could they produce water? Could they store it? Could they deliver it? The storm had managed to attack all 3 in the first day. The wind pumps were not producing. The electric well had no power. The calving branch had frozen. And still, the cattle had water because not every failure shared the same path. The second morning, the temperature stayed below freezing, but the wind returned from the northwest. The primary wheel remained locked under uneven ice. The lower mill stood more exposed and had collected less glaze. Nora and Eli watched it from outside the tower radius. At first, the wheel moved only when a gust hit. One blade shed a strip of ice. Then another. The rotation became steadier, without anyone touching the tower. Water reached the lower cistern in weak pulses. Eli timed 5 gallons. 38 gallons an hour. Later, as the wind strengthened, it reached 56. Not enough for the farm. Enough to change one decision. Nora closed the hill branch to the south lot and supplied that trough from the lower cistern instead. The smaller wind pump took one demand off the main reserve. That was all, no miracle, no farm suddenly powered by wind. One branch became less expensive and stored water. By the end of the second day, the lower mill had replaced almost 300 gallons. The hill tank had fallen to just above 5,000. The black emergency band was still well below the waterline. Ray crossed the road that evening on foot. The ice was too slick to trust the truck for a conversation. What's your main tank at? Nora told him. He nodded toward his place. Mine isn't a water number. Propane? 38%. He had called the supplier twice. The truck was parked in town. The driver was willing to come. The county was not opening the road for fuel deliveries yet. Ray rubbed ice from his glove. Generator's fine, I figured. That's the irritating part. Nora understood. A machine could be reliable and still belong to an unreliable chain. On the third morning, one of Ray's heifers calved early. The calf was small and slow to rise. Ray used extra warm water in the calving shed and ran the generator longer than planned. At noon, his propane gauge dropped below the line he had set for the final day. He shut the generator down. An hour later, he came to Nora's gate with a 250-gallon clean transport tank strapped to a trailer. He did not mention the auction. He did not mention the generator. He asked one question. What can you spare without crossing your black line? Eli brought the notebook. Hill tank, 4,580 gallons. Lower cistern, 1,310, with the small mill still adding about 50 gallons an hour in broken wind. Forecast. Another full day of freezing conditions, then gradual warming. Blackthorn Farm's protected minimum had 3 parts now: cattle, house, and calving. The last 2 days of water they had agreed not to spend. Eli did the arithmetic twice. 200 gallons from the lower cistern. Ray looked at the tank on his trailer. It holds 250. I know. I can make 2 trips if the road gets worse. Then the second trip gets a second calculation. Ray studied him for a moment. 2 months earlier, he might have laughed. Now he nodded. 200. They filled from the lower system. The small wind pump turned above the creek fence, each stroke adding water too slowly to see. Ray watched the level rise in his transport tank. Which machine is paying for this? Nora looked toward the hill tank, then toward the lower mill. The one that pumped yesterday. The one pumping now. The electric well before the line went down. Mostly the tanks. Ray waited. Nora tightened the valve. That's why I stopped trying to pick one winner. He hauled the 200 gallons home and used it only in the calving pen and for the animals nearest fresh calving. That afternoon, a second request came from down the road. The Morales family had 6 horses and a frozen barn hydrant. Their house still had bottled water, but their stock tank had cracked at the rim. Nora did not open the line immediately. She asked what containers they had. One old fuel drum had been rinsed. She refused it. A clean plastic stock tank in a pickup bed was acceptable. They transferred 120 gallons. Eli wrote it down. That was the only other outside load they accepted during the storm. Other calls received information, not water. Which public livestock point was expected to open first? Which neighbor had an operating shallow well? Which county road was blocked? Nora learned that sharing a reserve without measuring it could turn generosity into another failure path. The tank did not care why the gallon left. On the third night, the lower wind faded. Its output dropped to almost nothing. The primary mill remained locked. For 9 hours, the farm again depended entirely on stored water. Nora checked the hill tank before bed. 4,160. Still above the black band. She slept for 4 hours. At dawn, the temperature rose to 33 degrees. Ice began falling from the cottonwoods in heavy sheets. The sound carried across the fields like breaking glass. Nora and Eli stayed away from the wind towers. They waited. By noon, the primary wheel had shed most of its outer ice, but frozen material still clung near the hub. May arrived from town on a county tractor route because she had been checking 2 farm pumps farther west. She looked at the wheel from a distance. Leave the brake on. No one argued. They waited until the temperature held above freezing and nothing more fell from the blades. Then May inspected the tower from the ground with binoculars. No bent blade, no visible brace shift. Tail position normal. Brake cable intact. Nora moved the ground control through its travel. Only after those checks did she release the brake from outside the tower radius. The wheel turned a quarter revolution, stopped, moved again, then settled into a slow northwest rotation. Water began climbing into the hill tank. Eli marked the time. For the first time since the power failed, the main reserve stopped falling. An hour later, after normal farm use, the gauge was 17 gallons higher than the previous reading. 17 gallons did not matter as a quantity. Its direction mattered. The system had moved from spending only to spending and recovering. Ray came for a second load that afternoon. Eli approved 250 gallons. Ray did not ask for more. His generator still started whenever he opened the propane valve. He was saving the remaining fuel for short pumping cycles and the calving shed. I used to think your windmills were the backup, he said. Eli shook his head. They refill the backup. Ray looked at the hill tank. That's worse. Why? Because now I have to admit the ugly tank was the important part. Eli laughed for the first time in 3 days. By the 4th evening, the storm was losing its grip. The county road remained dangerous, but sleet had changed to cold rain in town. Utility crews reached the feeder line south of Blackthorn Road. Nora's main tank stood near 3,900 gallons. The lower cistern held just under 1,000. The 2 wind pumps had added about 600 gallons in scattered periods since the northwest wind returned. The farm had given away 570 gallons. The cattle remained watered. The house remained restricted, but safe. The black emergency band had never been crossed. At 9:40 the next morning, the pump house contactor clicked. The electric motor started. Water pressure climbed faster than either wind pump could have produced it. Nora stood beside the pressure gauge and listened through a full cycle. No abnormal sound. Eli timed recovery. Still slow. Still usable. They brought the hill tank back up in controlled draws, rather than trying to fill it in one long run. The wind pumps continued turning when the wind allowed. Nora did not disconnect them, because electricity had returned. She also did not shut off the electric pump to prove a point. The fastest safe source did the largest share of work. The slower sources restored margin. The propane truck reached Ray's farm late that afternoon. His generator had survived the storm perfectly. His fuel plan had not. That distinction mattered more to him than any argument Nora could have won across a fence. The day after the propane truck reached the road, Nora did something that surprised Eli. She did not begin by refilling every container they owned. She began by rebuilding the storm on paper. They spread the water log, weather notes, tank readings, and branch status sheet across the kitchen table. The numbers were imperfect. Some tank readings had been taken in wind that moved the float. Some outside transfers were measured by container marks rather than a calibrated meter. The lower wind pump output had varied by the hour. Nora refused to pretend the record was more exact than it was. They used ranges where they had ranges. They marked estimates as estimates. Then they asked the questions that mattered. How much stored water had the farm actually spent before any wind returned? How much demand had disappeared because the lower cistern carried the south lot? How much reserve had been lost to outside sharing? How much did the frozen calving branch cost in water? How close had they come to the black line? The answer to the last question was uncomfortable enough to be useful. Not very close under the weather they actually received. Much closer under the weather they had feared. If the cold had lasted 3 more days with no wind and no utility repair, their sharing decisions would have changed first. House convenience would have tightened again. Then the south lot would have been consolidated closer to the barn. Only after those steps would Nora have considered reducing herd numbers or hauling water from outside. Eli drew the sequence as a ladder. Normal use. Measured conservation. Branch consolidation. No sharing below protected margin. Outside hauling if roads reopened. Livestock reduction only if the system crossed a defined survival threshold and no recovery path existed. Nora looked at the last line. I wish we'd written this before the storm. We didn't know enough. We knew enough to write a first version. That became another rule. Emergency decisions belonged on paper before fatigue made them feel personal. They also found that their 500-gallon daily planning number had been slightly high for the cattle during the coldest part of the storm, but slightly low once the calving branch needed warm water work and outside transfers began. Instead of replacing the number with a single new one, Nora created 2. Protected farm minimum, emergency operating ceiling. The difference between them became decision space. May came by that afternoon and listened while Eli explained the audit. She pointed at the line showing the primary wind pump unavailable for almost 3 days. Does that make the mill a failure? Eli shook his head. No, it makes the tank necessary. May pointed at the lower pump's modest output. Does this make the small one successful? Eli hesitated. Only for the south branch. Good. Then she pointed at the electric well. And this, fastest source when power exists, generator across the road? Useful until fuel becomes the limit. May sat back. Now you're describing systems instead of teams. That sentence stayed in Nora's notebook, but not because it sounded clever. It corrected the argument that had surrounded the project from the beginning. Wind versus electricity. Old versus new. Slow versus fast. Those comparisons were easy because they allowed one winner. The farm had survived because no winner was required. Each source covered a different weakness. The electric well handled normal demand efficiently. The wind pumps created unscheduled production without purchased fuel. The tanks separated production from demand. Gravity delivered water without an active motor. Isolation valves kept one damaged branch local. Logs kept sharing and conservation from becoming guesswork. None of those elements deserved credit for the whole outcome. That was precisely why the outcome held together. Nora used the audit to change the farm again. She moved the calving shed's exposed elbow fully inside the protected wall sleeve. She raised the insulation around the house emergency standpipe. She added a simple mechanical meter to the outside transfer line so future shared water would not depend on tank markings. She lowered the hill tank's normal winter trigger by 100 gallons after learning that the dipstick reading was more reliable than the float in gusty weather. She did not buy another windmill. The salvage yard still had parts. The machine shop could have built another head. Ray even offered to help set a third tower on the east pasture. Nora declined. The audit had not found a third pump-shaped failure. It had found a delivery weakness, a measurement weakness, and a decision weakness. She spent money there instead. Eli understood the choice when he added the costs. A third tower would have been visible from the road. A protected pipe sleeve, a transfer meter, and revised procedures were not. But they removed problems the storm had actually revealed. That was the point of keeping the damaged 9-foot wheel behind the shed. Not as a monument to old machinery, as a reminder that impressive hardware could distract from the failure that mattered next. 3 days after the road cleared, Ray walked into Nora's barn, carrying a legal pad. The rebuilt spare pump head sat on a shelf above the bench. Behind the shed, the 9-foot wheel still leaned beside the kinked rod from the first failed design. Ray placed the pad on the bench. At the top, he had written 3 lines. Minimum cattle water, calving-only water, generator fuel per hour. I want one of those hill tanks. Nora looked at the list. Maybe. You don't sell them. That's not what I mean. Ray frowned. I watched yours work. You watched mine work here. Ray had 51 cattle, not 37. His well was deeper and faster. His barn sat closer to the road but lower than the west ridge. His winter wind crossed a hedge line before reaching the only useful rise. His propane generator already gave him a strong, fast backup as long as fuel lasted. Copying Nora's 2 wind pumps would be expensive and unnecessary. Eli spread a contour map across the bench. Your calving barn is the critical load. Ray looked at him. The herd matters too, yes. But your main troughs already hold more water than ours. The calving barn doesn't. Nora pointed to the west rise. You may not need a wind pump at all. You may need storage high enough to gravity feed one protected line. Ray looked disappointed. After all that, you're telling me not to buy a windmill. I'm telling you not to buy my answer. That week, they measured his property. They timed his electric well. They logged generator fuel under well-only load. They mapped the northwest wind around the hedge line. They calculated the minimum water needed to protect the calving barn for 3 days without the generator. Ray's plan ended up simpler than Nora's. A 2,700-gallon elevated storage tank on the west rise, a gravity line to the calving barn, one new isolation valve, a larger approved propane reserve, his existing electric pump. No windmill, at least not yet. Ray looked at the leftover pump parts behind Nora's shed. You have enough pieces to build something. Probably. Then why not put one on my ridge? Eli answered. Because we haven't proved you need it. Ray opened his mouth, closed it, then wrote that down too. The first test of his new system came during a 6-hour line outage in February. Ray opened the gravity valve before he started the generator. The calving trough filled without electricity. He ran the generator later to restore tank storage and power other loads. For the first time, his generator did not have to solve every problem the moment the line failed. That was the second-order change Nora cared about, not imitation, margin. By spring, Blackthorn Farm had settled into a routine that would have seemed strange before the auction. The electric pump still supplied most daily water. The primary wind pump added water during useful north and west winds. The lower pump kept its small cistern from staying empty after pasture draws. Once a month, Nora and Eli turned the spare head by hand and checked the oil film. They exercised every isolation valve. They compared the tank gauge with the dipstick. They inspected brake ropes from the ground. Before ice forecasts, they raised the hill reserve above the white band. The red tag parts stayed behind the shed. Nora had spent real money on salvage, new pipe, concrete, cable, fittings, machine work, and excavation. Cheap equipment had not created a cheap system. The value came from knowing exactly which failure each expense removed. A matched pump reduced overload risk. A ground break reduced exposure beneath a tower. A corrected gravity grade made stored water reachable. Isolation valves stopped one broken branch from draining everything. Storage separated the moment water was produced from the moment water was needed. And testing converted assumptions into numbers. The well's slow recovery never disappeared. The wind still stopped whenever it wanted. Ice could still disable a wheel. A tank could still leak someday. A pipe could still freeze. Nora did not build a farm that could not fail. She built one that had to suffer several failures before the cattle lost water. In March, the county reclamation yard mailed Nora a final disposal notice for the pieces she had not taken on auction day. She read it at the kitchen table and smiled at the idea that the story had begun with a pile everyone wanted to measure by count. 7 wind pumps. As if 7 broken machines should have produced 7 working machines to justify the purchase. The number no longer meant much. On the farm, 2 small wheels turned. One spare head waited on a shelf. The largest wheel had never gone back into service. Some parts had earned their value by being rejected before they failed in the air. Eli came in carrying the winter water log. He had summarized the ice storm on one page. Power outage duration, tank draw, lower cistern contribution, outside water shared, wind pump downtime, recovery after power returned. At the bottom he had written a new question. How many failures can happen before the trough goes dry? Nora read it twice. Keep that one. In early summer, May stopped by to inspect the primary head after 6 months of operation. The bearings were clean. The rod guides showed normal wear. The tail pivot had slight play but remained within tolerance. They replaced one bushing before it became a problem. Ray walked over from across the road while they worked. His new tank was visible above the west hedge. No windmill stood beside it. His generator remained under its shed. You realize, he said, I spent all winter thinking I was going to end up with one of those things. He pointed at the turning wheel. Nora wiped oil from her hands. You ended up with water. Ray looked at the tank on his ridge. That's annoyingly accurate. May laughed. Eli wrote the bushing replacement in the maintenance book. No one called the project finished. That was another change. A backup system was not something they installed and trusted forever. It was something they exercised, measured, repaired, and refused to romanticize. The following winter opened with a dry, cold front and a hard northwest wind. No storm warning, no emergency, just ordinary weather. Nora walked the hill before breakfast. The primary wind pump turned slowly against a pale sky. The electric well cycled below it. Both were working. She opened the tank inspection port and lowered the dipstick. The water stood above the white operating band. She closed the lid. Then she walked down to valve box 2 and opened the calving branch for its monthly test. The wheel on the hill kept turning. The electric motor shut off at the end of its cycle. For a moment, the farm became quiet.